discussion of appropriate action regarding proclamation declaring state of emergency city of Stigler. Are you going to give us an overview of what that means?
Thank you, Mayor. In that we haven't been together as a group or council since our normal council meeting, there's been a lot of water under that proverbial bridge, if you will, since we last met, with what's going on with the virus, not only nationwide, but here in Stigler as well. So I thought it would be helpful and timely for us to get together as a group, look each other in the eye and all do the same thing, so that we can provide a consistent message to our constituents. Yes. Thank you, Becky. The proclamation that you have in front of you lays out a few basic tenets that I'd like to cover real quick. All of these are already in force, if you will, by virtue of the declarations of emergencies that have occurred at both the federal and the state level. But as a council, I wanted you to be aware of where we were and to be comfortable. One of the first things that we would talk about is the need for competitive bidding and the spending limits placed on the city manager by the ordinance. That's lifted. So if we see the need to make a purchase on an emergency basis, we would certainly use our good and best judgment, try to find the best prices we normally would, but we may not get 3 bids. We may get 2 or we may get none, depending on the nature of the need. So I wanted everyone to be aware of that. Secondly, is we do have the ability to meet via conference call going forward. The issue is we don't have the ability to set up a conference bridge, and that's one of the requirements that to meet the Open Meetings Act, you still have to provide access to your conference call. So that's problematic. So we may be able to get together in a smaller group, for example, get 3 or 4 of us in a room and conference the others in. That's still okay, because people are still able to come into this meeting room and be a part of the meeting. Or if we got larger, we could go to a larger area, but we'll worry about that if in fact we start getting sick or have to deal with the illness. The other one is a little more difficult to discuss, and that comes down to making those tough decisions as to when it's time to close certain times of business in the event that we see the virus spreading and causing a disruption in our lives. At this point, Stigler has been blessed, as well as this part of the state, in terms of not having anyone in our city or our county as of today, correct?
Yes.
Having the virus. So we're doing a lot of things well and doing a lot of things good, and we want to continue that. I drove through town most of the day Saturday and Saturday evening and Sunday. I saw many people picking up food orders to go in smaller crowds in the restaurants, and that's kind of what we're looking for. And we're already practicing the distancing that's been requested in Stigler. One of the things that came up that Cheryl shared with me was we had a daycare call and say, is the city going to shut down daycare? No, we're not. It's not our place to make that call at this point. The governor may issue a decree or a declaration that says we're going to shut down daycares, but they need to use common sense. The same rules apply. You don't want more than 10 young people in the room. Did you have something, Cheryl?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you had something.
No.
Oh,
I was counting.
but again, common sense and the same rules apply. I think there's a sense out there that if the city were to act and say, we're gonna shut your business down, that they would be more inclined to receive aid of some sort. That's a misnomer. With or without the city acting, if there's gonna be aid available, it'll be available all on the same basis. It won't have anything to do with us shutting them down, as it's been communicated to me. So, as it stands today, I cannot recommend to the council that we shut down any businesses that haven't voluntarily shut down at this point. I think the county has enacted the same degree of logic, and those businesses that feel they pose a risk, they've already shut their doors anyway. You know, the banks have locked their lobbies. If you wanna get in, you make an appointment, and it limits the amount of personal interaction. I think that's a great idea and a great plan. And with that said, we'll be coming up on our billing cycle for our city utility bills towards the end of the month. And that means the traffic into City Hall on a normal basis would increase significantly, people coming in to pay their bills. So Cheryl has been working with her team, and I'll ask her to address the council as their plans beginning on the 30th as to how we're gonna manage our lobby when we send our bills out. So Cheryl.
Yeah, I gave everybody a copy of this. I mean, this is just something I did just a while ago, so if there's something else that you'd like us to add or put on there, you know, we can. I just think that having people coming in and out so often as they do, you can't do the doors and stuff between people because they come so fast. And not only that, to protect the girls. So basically, you know, they can put their money in the Dropbox, pay ACH or send it through the mail. Right? And then if they have any, even with new services, we can do all of that through the Dropbox. I think we'd be safe to do that. And if they need something else, I mean, they can call and we'll be glad to help them in every way we can.
Don't see a way around that. Real quickly before we move off of this, thanks to Cheryl and Jim, our city attorney, gave this a good going over several times. He was more than comfortable with it, and to paraphrase, he said if he were still in this position, this is a document that he would want in terms of empowering him to conduct business going forward. So I was very, very comfortable with that. Virtually every city in the state or municipality or town has issued some kind of proclamation. I thought if we were gonna take the time to have a face-to-face and answer those questions and to squelch those rumors, we might as well do the same thing so that you could know what we may or may not be facing. It would be my intent to conduct business, and at such time that I felt like the public health in Stigler was significantly at risk, and we needed to change something very, very quickly, we would probably call this body back together and talk about it. We need to be informed and stay informed. So with that said, I'll stop and answer any questions that you may have.
I just have a question about, like, today's the 23rd, why are you waiting until the 30th for?
It's when the bills go out. The traffic's kind of slow right now. You know, we may see one or two a day. Typically, those people are ones that are maybe asking for new service, which we would have to allow in as well.
Well, mainly too, is this, we're gonna have this in the newspaper, so it'll come out, like Thursday, people would be able to get the newspaper to see.
Okay.
Otherwise, other than just putting it on the door, you know, having it on the door, people would drive up here and come in and pay or do new service, and I mean, the traffic isn't, right now, we don't have much going on. Other than my only phone, right now, just working on getting the billing out, so.
It'd also be our intent to put this on StiglerOK.net. As you know, we engaged an individual to help us with keeping our website updated, and this is another perfect example of that. We'll also be providing all of the updates from Oklahoma Department of Commerce, anything that comes from the federal government in terms of assistance. Also, Small Business Development Council has an excellent resource package put together. We'll be posting that today as well. So, Mayor, that concludes my discussion.
Okay. Any other discussion?
You mentioned the county a while ago, are they under the same, pretty much the same guidelines?
It's similar. It's not the same exact thing, but yeah, it's similar.
There will still be some restaurants open in the other areas.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the county is not, not trying to mandate any kind of shutdowns. Just strongly urging people to pay attention to what the governor has put out,
Right.
as well as the federal level, the president and so forth. But yeah, there's nothing mandated at this point.
And just to touch on that a little further, city manager came in last week with the chief and board of county commissioners and most elected officials, and it has been determined in that meeting that pretty much everybody's gonna work hand in hand.
Right.
And what we see fit, and I can tell you that Bobby and I had a long conversation on Saturday, reference different things to this nature, so, I mean, I think the county, on the county side, the commissioners aren't here, but it's pretty much, we're gonna work hand in hand with the city on closures and things like that, if we see it, and, hopefully the other communities will jump on board as well, if that needed to be done.
And that meeting was Friday, and I touched on this document in this meeting that we're in today, Friday with the commissioners, so they're aware of it. We can certainly get them an electronic copy, but again, it'll be posted on our website very, very quickly anyway, so, thanks, Sheriff.
Any other discussion? Entertain motion to accept the proclamation.
I make the motion to accept it.
Bill made the motion, have a second, please.
Second.
Red, second, roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bumpers.
Yes.
Godfrey.
Yes. Adjournment.
Make a motion we adjourn.
Brad made the motion, have a second, please.
I'll second.
Becky, second, roll call, please.
Martin.
Yes.
Bumpers.
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Godfrey.
Yes. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
The Stigler News Sentinel has asked Stigler City Manager Bobby Mauser to provide information regarding the impact of the coronavirus on the city of Stigler. So, for our first question, what is the current status of city offices and services?
At this time, we see no need to restrict entry into our offices. We're still providing a full slate of services, as we always have, with the exception of asking our employees to be very, very conscious of the risks that exist in the workplace, both inside and outside, asking them to practice the good hygiene that has been recommended by both the state and federal governments, and to resist the opportunity to be caught in those larger group settings where you might be increasing the risk factor of contacting the virus. I will say that it is our plan at this point, and we'll have information on our website in this week's edition of the News Sentinel, that with their current billing cycle, where customers will start receiving bills on the 30th of this month, we will restrict entrance into the office, because we'll be looking at roughly 1,000 people that would be coming through our door in a very, very short time period. And with those increased risk, we deem it inappropriate to put not only our employees at the risk, but also the members of the public, because we would be forced to have someone standing at the door and wiping it and sanitizing it as everybody walked in, and we just don't see that as realistic. So we do have other payment options, online payment, ACH, check, the night drop. If you've got a special circumstance, just certainly call the office and we'll work out a way that we can take care of that request. It may be face-to-face. If you need an inspection for a home or business that you're currently building or remodeling, the same thing. We'll be doing those by appointment. But otherwise, we'll continue to offer the full slate of services that we have. We don't expect this virus to affect us in any way in terms of operating the water plant, the sewage plant, or the refuse collection. So we're real pleased that we haven't seen a shutdown. And at this point, if we continue to be fortunate enough not to be impacted locally, we'll continue to offer that full slate of services.
What was the purpose of the action taken by the City Council today during the emergency meeting?
it's been a number of weeks since the council's been together, and they, as a group, had been calling because the rumor mill is very active. Things ranging from Stigler's going to shut down every restaurant in town, going to shut down grocery stores, things of that nature. We felt it time to make it official as to where we stood. So today, we did approve a proclamation that talks about emergency powers. I think 3 points that are probably more important than anything else on the document. One being is that we don't have to go through the competitive bidding process. We are in a state of emergency, so if we need to make purchases or we need to spend money to ensure that we can have continuity of service, we're able to do that. Secondly, we're able to meet via conference call as opposed to face, as long as we offer access to the bridge to members of the public. Still falls within the requirements of the Open Meetings Act, so we may need to do that if we start having cases locally. And third was just to answer any questions that the members of the council may have of me that they've been asked by their constituents up to this point. So we took the opportunity not only to cover the document and the basis for its issuance, what it means, and also to answer any questions that they may have. Very timely. And we did practice social distancing in the meeting. It was a short meeting, the shortest one I've been a part of during my tenure. It was less than 15 minutes, so we took care of business and moved on.
So what direction or advice would you have to offer Stigler citizens?
Just think twice before you get in your car or you walk out of your house and decide that you want to go and mix and mingle where others may be doing the same thing. Our restaurants in town are all offering takeout, so that's a good option. My wife and I ordered some pizzas the other day and got a couple that we stuck in the freezer so that we can reheat them and not have the need to go back out. If you find the need to go shopping for groceries, if you're able, and I know sometimes we're all limited financially or by other means, but if you're able, buy a little extra so it'll last longer and you won't have to get back out and put yourself at risk again. And at a minimum, practice what we've been asked to practice by both the state and federal government in terms of washing your hands, those simple things, washing your hands, keeping a distance, and not being in groups unless you absolutely have to. That would be my recommendation.
Do you have any other information you'd like to provide regarding the impact of the coronavirus on the city of Stigler?
I would just say to this point, we're fortunate not to have a case locally. I'm not going to try to predict whether we actually have members of our community that contract the virus or not. That remains to be seen. If it does, I think we're well positioned to deal with it, both as a city and a state. And let's just hope that that's something that we don't have to deal with. And our preventative methods, preventive steps have led us to remain safe here in Stigler. That's my hope.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We
You're
appreciate your time. Thank you.